Systems Live, feeds open. Welcome back. I hope everyone is having a lovely start to their day. I don't know what time everyone's on. I'm not even sure what continent you guys were watching this on. But wherever you guys are seeing this, I hope you're having a lovely day, a lovely week, whatever the case may be. I hope it's going amazing for you, and I hope it continues to go amazing for you. And whatever you do, I hope goes amazing for you. I hope you know that. I hope everyone understands how well I wish all of you, okay? I wish everyone amazing days, weeks, months, years. I hope everything goes wonderfully. We are going to be continuing talking about some different BLs, and today we're going to be doing an anime. I hope that's okay with you guys. You know, we switch it up here. We don't stick to one specific thing. I also will be throwing in an American show in there because I actually really enjoyed it. It's called The Girlfriend. So I will be throwing that in here at some point. Please look forward to that. You guys may not be watching this to hear about American shows, but I do think it's good to also throw in a variety of different options. You know, you never know what you might like. You never know what you won't like, you know? Won't know until you try. So that's going to be in here at some point also. But today we're going to be talking about a anime BL. So let's get into it. Today we're talking about Love Stage. Love Stage is a chaotic romantic BL anime that blends showbiz satire, mistaken identity, and slow emotional awakening. Centered around a shy otaku raised in a celebrity family, the series explores how love forms when expectation, pressure, and personal identity collide. Also, I will give a bit of a trigger warning. This show, although it is very cute and it has its moments of like, oh, they're like just babies, like, you know, but it also has a couple moments where there's a couple, like, I'm just gonna say it, there's a few scenes of assault, and if that is not something you can watch, please skip this one. It might not be for you, and I don't want anyone to have to watch something just because they hear something about it and they think it's interesting and then be triggered while watching it, okay? Please don't force yourself to watch it just because maybe I described it in a way that sounds interesting, okay? Like, I'm giving you a warning from now. If you don't want to watch or are not comfortable with assault, please do not watch this one. There are like two maybe three scenes throughout the entire show that include assault in them, and if you do want to watch it and you would just like to skip that, please just reach out to me and I will let you know where exactly it happens, if that's what you prefer to. But if you don't want to see it at all, please just skip this one. There are plenty more options for you guys to watch, and I'm going to continue to give you guys more options to watch. So this one you can skip out on if assault is really something that it does not sit well with you. Please do not watch this, okay? Come back for more later. Do not feel like you have to watch this one, all right? Please. But let's get more into the show. As we start these, and as we will always start these, our characters. We have Izumi Sena. He's a gentle, socially anxious art student / otaku who wants nothing to do with fame. Despite growing up in a celebrity household, Izumi prefers drawing and quiet spaces. His journey centers on self-acceptance, gender expression, and learning that love doesn't have to be frightening. We have Ryouma Ichijo, a popular, and please guys, I will say this every time, if I'm saying anyone's name wrong, please correct me. I know in some Asian languages the R's aren't like a rolled R like I would say, because I'm mixed, I'm Hispanic as well, so I roll my R's a lot of times, and I know that's not actually correct in some languages, which is perfectly fine. If I'm saying it wrong, let me know. I will continue to try to do my best to correct as I go, but but I'm also gonna mess up, you know. They're not my languages, and I'm trying my best, you know, and I do the research that I can, and I try to make sure I say everything correctly. But if I'm saying anything wrong, please feel free to correct me. I would prefer that you guys correct me and tell me I'm saying stuff wrong rather than me just get it wrong. Okay, please correct me, guys. I really do appreciate it when people let me know that I'm doing stuff wrong. So we have Ryouma Ichijo. He's a popular, confident actor who has been in love with Izumi since childhood. His devotion is intense but sincere, and his arc focuses on patience, loyalty, and loving without conditions. We have Shogo Sena, Izumi's loud, dramatic rock star brother. He's over the top and chaotic, but deeply protective of Izumi. We have Seiya Sena, Izumi's famous singer father. He's calm, surprisingly progressive, and quietly supportive. We have Nagisa Sena. She is Izumi's famous model actress mother. She's very outspoken and is very hard to say no to. Pretty much everyone just does what she asks. And then last but very much not least, we have Rei Sagara. Rei is the manager for the Sena family. He helps run their talent agency. I'm blanking on the name, I'm so sorry. He's the acting voice of reason for their family and the industry perspective. So now we can get into the show. We open to a wedding with two adorable little kids. One has purple eyes and the other has striking purplish yellow eyes that almost resemble a sunset if they were orange and yellow. Which this scene we can assume is a flashback because the next scene we are introduced to one of our main characters, Izumi Sena. He is our shy otaku born into an entertainment family whose dream is to one day become a manga artist, just like his favorite artist who draws his favorite manga, Lalalulu. And yes, it's a little goofy of a name, but that's what the name of the manga is. So please bear with me because the Lalalulu manga stuff will pop up very frequently throughout here. So please just bear with it. It's very cute and goofy, but it is something that shows up a lot in here. He's very obsessed with it. However, we can see very clearly that he isn't the best artist, so that dream may seem a bit out of reach. We'll keep that little thought to ourselves. Now, remember the wedding from the beginning? It turns out it was a commercial for a wedding magazine Izumi and his parents started 10 years ago. With the magazine's 10th anniversary coming up, they want to have them all in it again, this time with the kids getting married. However, Izumi is also very against it. So Rei has to pull out the big guns to help convince Izumi. The big guns being Izumi's older brother, Shogo, who, not entirely surprising enough, is easily able to convince Izumi to be a part of the commercial. He essentially bribes him. And I do have to say this. The family in this show, the Sena family, is actually very amusing. It's a bit obvious they're shining stars with how famous they are. So please go into it with a little half-heartedness, because you have to realize a lot of the show is meant to be, it's satire, you know, so that's what the show is. So it's kind of not only making fun of the industry, but it's also it shows you little bits of it, you know, so it's meant to be funny. Okay, the day of the commercial is here and Izumi is definitely not in a shooting mood. However, the rest of his family is excited about it, so they basically drag him to the venue where, although he is terrified, is transformed into a very adorable girl. But just because he looks the part doesn't mean he's ready to play the part. Izumi is visibly terrified, and as rolling starts, he has a bit of a wardrobe malfunction that discourages him. Thankfully, Ryouma is being considerate of his jitters and offers him some help. This gets Izumi in a better place to get into the role and start filming again. We get back to shooting, and everything is going pretty smoothly as of right now. That is until Ryouma kisses Izumi, which completely freaks him out and sends him running. Apparently, the script Izumi received didn't include a kiss, which was due to his father taking that part out, so he didn't know it was included in the first place. So, once again, we need to somehow convince Izumi to come back and finish filming. So Rei makes a call to Shogo, who, not surprisingly, once again, is already there to see Izumi. And I will let you guys know this. Shogo is very much what most will refer to in anime as a brother lover. And if you're not very familiar with the term, or at least not familiar with its usage in the context of like this show and some of the other shows it's used in, it's basically just someone who's really obsessed with their sibling and wants to make sure they're loved and protected. Like they have, some of them, if we're talking in Shogo sense, have like a sense for their brother and they can tell when things aren't going well. And then others, for example, there's another show, I may or may not bring it up because it is a bit out there. I've seen it. It's one of my comfort shows, but I don't know if you guys would want to actually know about it. It's called Super Lovers. In that one, he's a brother lover, but he doesn't have like a sense for them per se, but he does know when like stuff happens. It's like, it's slightly different. It's not as intense as Shogo's, but it's definitely an intense like version of a brother lover, I guess, in an anime sense. Okay. Once again, Shogo knows exactly what to bribe Izumi with and get him on board. So the commercial's back on, and from there, finishes without a hitch. Once the commercial is finished, Izumi thanks Ryouma for all his help and heads back to the dressing room to change. Ryouma wants to take the opportunity to shoot his shot before Izumi leaves, and when he gets to Izumi's room, he explains to him that he's in love with him and that he's been in love with him. However, Shogo also happens to be present and hears the conversation, the confession. And we kind of find out that he and Ryouma don't very much care for each other, especially since Shogo is protective of Izumi. So I'm not sure whether it was petty or just rashness, but Shogo decides to let the truth out that Izumi is a boy and basically shatters Ryouma's dreams in a matter of seconds. So, as we continue, life gets sort of back to normal. Izumi attends classes, goes to the manga club as usual. However, he is trying to make a manga story to submit to a contest, and he's hoping it goes well because he really does want to win. Ryouma is shocked after finding out Izumi is a boy, but can't seem to completely move past him. It's so bad to the point where it's got him messing up at work. So, in order to snap out of it, he resolves to definitely see Izumi as a boy. So, in a very unconventional plan, and this is where I will give you a warning, one of the assault scenes that's come up in this, he decides to go see Izumi, basically corners him and tries to get him naked to see that he is actually a boy. And yes, I know it's very crazy, and that's why I gave the warning at the beginning. However, once he corners Izumi, boy or not, that man is very much in love with him. So he begins to realize that Izumi being a boy may not be something that turns him away. Thankfully, Shogo pops up and literally, I'm not even kidding when I say literally knocks some sense into that man. Literally knocks some fucking sense into Ryouma before he goes too far. And now he's conflicted about what to do. Izumi, after all that, is a bit traumatized by the experience, but not for the reasons you might think. Okay, and I will explain. But first, let's talk about Ryouma, because this poor man is actually pitiful. And when I say pitiful, y'all, this man looks like he has a hurricane just swirling around him. He just looks sad as hell. Now, after that exchange, he's very ashamed of how he acted. Ryouma and Shogo end up conveniently having to do a TV show together, and Ryouma uses this opportunity to convince Shogo that he really does care about Izumi and he needs his help to let him know that. Shogo, being a softie at heart and still very much a brother lover, wants Izumi to have a chance at whatever this may be and decides to help him. Now, back with Izumi, Rei manages to get into Izumi's room, where he has holed himself away since the incident. And when Izumi finally talks about Rei, we learn that he's not really upset about what happened. He's more confused and frustrated by the feelings that it brought up for him. Rei surprises Izumi by letting him know he's been with men before, and Izumi is able to ask a question that once Rei answers, you would think nothing had ever happened to this man. He, right as rain, pops right back up, heads right back to business. Now, remember when I said Shogo was gonna help Ryouma? Yeah, instead of just going to their home, they decide that we should just wait for Izumi at school because they know that's where he's gonna be. So when Izumi arrives for class, Both of them are waiting in front of the school, being surrounded by fans, just waiting for Izumi. From here, Izumi tries to get away, but Ryouma follows him, and once he gets him alone, he apologizes. But like really apologizes, like kowtow, on hands and knees and everything. And Ryouma convinces Izumi, albeit begrudgingly, to just spend the day with him. And once they finish all the unexpected running around, Ryouma openly admits he still loves Izumi regardless of gender. Izumi struggles to believe he's worthy of that love, but instead of completely disregarding Ryouma, he decides to at least be friends with him. However, Izumi is still an introvert, and he's coming to realize that Ryouma is a bit clingy, and he's constantly texting him. Izumi is preparing for the manga contest, and he keeps having these small fantasy breaks where he sees himself winning the contest, and they're cute. They're cute, don't get me wrong, and it helps keep his hopes up. But the drawings really have not gotten any better, like at all. This man is having these fantasies of something that's sadly just not gonna happen, and I feel so bad for him. Ryouma tries to prove his affection through actions rather than words. He literally shows up at Izumi's manga club unannounced, and Izumi is startled and slightly annoyed. However, Ryouma stays and basically just watches Izumi try to make his manga. He sees that it's not great, but as they say, love makes you blind and dumb. And he hypes Izumi up about his manga, which makes Izumi flattered that he's admiring his work. Now we get to see Izumi taking a small liking to Ryouma, and it adds to the humor how quickly he starts to change his mind about Ryouma once he likes his manga. We're not done with the manga just yet. Izumi realizes there aren't many days left till the deadline for the competition, and it's taking him pretty long to finish his story. So he decides it may be time to get some help. And the only person he can think of, and trust me, it was his last resort, not his first, to ask is Ryouma, who of course jumps at the opportunity happily and with open arms. We get basically a cute little montage of them working for like a day or two straight maybe, and finishing the manga, and we get to see Ryouma quietly obsessed over how cute Izumi is while trying not to wake him after all their hard work is done. Ryouma finally pulls himself away from Izumi just to have to head back to work to deal with the scandal. Ryouma heads to deal with the scandal issue at work, and Rei comes home to see Izumi sleeping and his manga completely finished. Even if it looks rough, it's done, so that's what matters. It's starting to look like everyone, Rei included, is starting to come around to the idea of Ichijo Ryouma. Ryouma is getting into a bit of trouble at work, and he has to call Rei for some help, since Izumi is now seeming to become involved as well. Rei returns with what he believes to be good news, but not to Izumi. To get ahead of the scandal, they will hold a press conference, reveal Izumi's identity, showing that he's a boy, and also revealing that he will be debuting into showbiz. But of course, Rei is doing this out of concern for Izumi's future, and Izumi just sees it as controlling and is only concerned about turning his manga in. So Rei makes a deal with him. If you go and they like the manga and want to publish it, I'll leave you alone. But if not, and they hate it, you come back and you go into showbiz willingly. He does say some kind of harsh things, which kind of makes Izumi mad at him, but Rei isn't too worried since he knows Izumi's manga won't really get anywhere. So Izumi, believing in himself, goes to deliver his manga, and as expected is blown off because it's not that great, especially the drawings, which was not a surprise to anyone except our little baby Izumi. So this drops him into a depression because he wasn't expecting this outcome, and I mean it when I say depression because he went into full-on despair mode, and he genuinely did not care what happened to himself, and he did not go back home for a few days. He instead opted for staying with Ryouma because he didn't want to face Rei. Although Ryouma is happy to have Izumi stay with him, it's too tempting a situation, and Izumi forgets that Ryouma is in love with him. Like, he loves this man, and Ryouma's feeling hurt by how inconsiderate Izumi is being about his feelings. Izumi, still upset about the manga, still doesn't want to go home and insists on staying with Ryouma, even willing to let Ryouma do whatever he wants to him, but this just upsets Ryouma even more because it feels like Izumi is mocking his feelings.
俺、お前のこと好きなんだぞ。 好きなやつ目の前にしていつまでも我慢できるほど俺は人間できてないんだよ。
いいよ。好きにすれば俺はもうどうなってもいいんだ。だからどうぞ。
嫌だ。
龍馬？
俺の気持ちをバカにすんなよ。
龍馬！
Which is a sad moment to watch because we know that's not really what he's trying to do, but of course the person whose feelings are basically being toyed with, to him, that's how it's gonna feel. So Ryouma goes to work, leaving Izumi in his apartment on his own. And after Ryouma got upset with Izumi, he starts to really think about how he's been treating Ryouma. Ryouma even went to the trouble of getting Izumi's favorite manga art author to read his script and write some encouraging words, all because he didn't want Izumi to just give up on his dream. And this really pushes Izumi to begin to acknowledge his own feelings. They decide to bring Izumi home and apologize to Rei, because although he may not look it, Rei spent the entire time Izumi wasn't there, worrying if something horrible happened to him. Izumi's time away helped him realize how everyone around him, Rei especially, is just worried about his future and just wants to do what's best for him. Once home, they apologize to Rei, and Ryouma tries to leave quietly, but Izumi catches up to him to thank him for everything. Izumi plays dumb for a second and says Ryouma is like a big brother to him. And Ryouma, not just gonna let that one slide, reminds him just how much he differs from his big brother.
Ryo.
Which I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of him for, because we're not about to let them friend zone us again after this long, okay? Not after all this work was put in. We're not friend zoning us like that. So after so long of avoiding it, Izumi finally decides to go into show business. And like I mentioned before, they designed a whole plan to do it, and now the day has finally come for the press conference. And we actually do get a whole episode basically set up almost like a biopic, like magazine entry. And it tells us where he started, how he's feeling now, what he's planning to do in the coming days of the press conference. It's actually pretty interesting the way they set up the episode. So I'm not gonna like fully go into detail about it. Like, please, if you wanna see it, it's actually a pretty cool episode. I was kind of intrigued by how they decided to set that one up. But all this to say, basically, that day they made a whole spectacle of announcing Izumi was a boy and finally going into show business. Now that Izumi is in the public eye, everything is going to be a bit more stressful for Ryouma, that is. And he's now realizing everyone is going to be all over him, especially since he's so cute. Ryouma is now realizing the whole world is basically going to be his rival in a way. Though they do address it in a kind of whimsical manner that makes it humorous. So many people are reaching out to try and get Izumi in a bunch of different roles and things. And Izumi at the moment isn't even really paying attention to the fact that he just debuted. He's finally coming to terms with his feelings about Ryouma, and he's getting a bit obsessed, to say the least. Rei takes Izumi around to introduce him to different people in the show, in the business, and they happen to show up on the set of the drama Ryouma is filming. Ryouma, seeing everyone fawn over Izumi, he gets jealous, takes Izumi away to a separate room to talk. He expresses how he is scared someone will steal Izumi from him and would really like it if they had something solid between them. But before Izumi can actually answer, Ryouma passes out. Apparently, he was pretty sick and didn't even realize it himself since he had been working so hard. They get him to a hospital where he will have to stay for a few days, and Izumi heads back home and is saddened by Ryouma's confession because he does have feelings for him. He's just struggling to fully come to terms with those feelings. So back at home, Izumi starts ordering a bunch of shit again, and this time it's a bunch of BL stuff. Once again, Rei is dragged into answering something NSFW and not what he was expecting. However, Rei is a very helpful voice of reason, and once Izumi has an answer, he's right as rain and back to his regularly scheduled programming. Izumi goes to some festival with the rest of his friends, and a few things happen that I will touch on because they do help Izumi realize how and actually address how he feels about Ryouma. So first, Izumi, while trying to escape a mob, gets stuck with some random men who, once again, trigger warning, try to assault him. Thankfully, he is able to defend himself and get away, but in that time, he realized he didn't want just anyone touching him, just Ryouma. Second, once Izumi escapes, his friend Kuroi, I'm so sorry, please correct me, guys. His friend Kuroi finds him and they get to talking. Kuroi reveals his part-time job is working for the manga author, that the manga artist that Izumi loves so much. He lets him know that he just so happened to be there when Ryouma came to get his boss to read Izumi's manga, and all the work that Ryouma actually did to even get Izumi's manga into the manga artist's hands. Izumi's realizing just how much Ryouma does for him and actually really cares about him and loves him. And now Izumi can finally openly accept Ryouma's love and decides he wants them to move forward together. So Izumi heads to find Ryouma so he can finally tell him how he feels. When Izumi gets to Ryouma's apartment, he literally jumps his bones. I'm not even kidding, literally. That man literally says, "Let's do it, babe." Like, jumps him right when he walks to that apartment. Ryouma is of course shocked at first because Izumi has not said how he feels about him just yet, but Izumi is also telling him to sleep with him, so he's definitely not gonna pass up that kind of opportunity. Once they have their cute lovey-dovey bump and grind moment, Ryouma asks Izumi seriously why he wanted to do it in the first place, concerned about whether or not he did it out of pity. Izumi realizes he never actually said the words out loud, and finally, after such anticipation, tells Ryouma that he loves him. And that is our ending. That is how we end. A very cute, happy ending. I hope everyone actually enjoys it, because it does feel a bit abrupt, but it's not really. Like, it ends pretty well. I do have to say I liked how it ended. What I liked and what I didn't. I enjoyed the humor that they kept throughout. It helped ease the tension that would occur between the main characters in different situations. It actually works really well to have the humor in an anime like this. And they knew exactly where to place it without varying too much from the story. I found it super cute and humorous. I don't know if you guys even noticed it, but I really liked the small hints they gave here and there that maybe Shogo and Rei may have like a history, or like maybe seeing each other from time to time. There was like a big hint at it towards like the very end, like the last episode of the show. I saw it. I was like, these niggas is doing something. They doing something. I liked how it wasn't really like its own like full-on couple. It was just like cute little soft hints like here and there. I actually did really enjoy that. What I didn't love that the main character was almost always being assaulted at random times. That part kind of annoyed me. It wasn't so frequent that it would like put you off of the show, probably more piss you off than anything, but he can hold his own, I gotta say. So you at least gotta give him that. Like, he could hold his own, you know? He wasn't just letting him do whatever. So that, I'll give him that. But it was a little annoying that it happened at least twice, you know? So overall, I have to say, Love Stage gets an 8 out of 10 daggers. Love Stage remains a foundational BL anime. It's messy, loud, heartfelt, and surprisingly tender beneath its chaos. While it shows its age, its core message about love, acceptance, and being seen still resonates, making it a worthwhile watch for BL fans and anime romance lovers alike. Now, what did you guys think? Did Ryouma's unwavering devotion feel romantic to you or overwhelming at times? What part of Izumi's journey resonated more? His struggle with identity or his fear of intimacy? And do you think Love Stage holds up well compared to the newer BL anime, or does it feel dated? Let me know. You know, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. You know, whenever you guys feel comfortable enough to like talk with me, I would love to have these discussions with you guys, because I really do want this to be like a community that we can all just like discuss, because if we're being completely honest, I don't have anyone to talk to about this stuff. Nobody around me actually watches any of this. I'm the only one I know near me that watches all of this. So I would love to talk to you guys about all this stuff. Even some like I do read like manhwa too, so like we can also talk about some stories. Like if you guys read some different stuff, like let me know. I would love to know what you guys are watching or reading, or even if you guys want to know one that you're kind of nervous to watch and aren't really sure if you should watch it, I'll watch it for you. Like let me know what it is. I'll watch it and I'll let you guys know if it was worth the effort of watching, or if it's just like, you know, maybe there's some stuff in there that might be kind of triggering that may not be worth the watch for some people, you know? Like I really do want this to be somewhere where you guys can come and talk and feel like we're not like weirdos for being the only people we know that watch this stuff. Because even though I'm the only person I know that watches this, I feel very comfortable talking and discussing it. So please join me. I hope everyone feels comfortable enough at some point to like come on and discuss with each other, discuss with me, because I do want to be a part of the conversations. Like I will join in. I'm 100% here to just jump in and have conversations about all this stuff with you guys. So you guys, whenever you do feel comfortable, I look forward to that day, you know? But for now, let's cut the feed, babes, because my work here is done.